So you're in a relationship with somebody who is a highly sensitive person. You have a family member who's a HSP. You are friends with somebody who's an HSP. It could really be you co-working or being in a co-working space with somebody who's an HSP, and this will help you out. And at the end of it, with a lot of the videos in this series, there's an inversion at the end. Inverse. And what we're gonna get into, we had some RF hits. What we're gonna get into very quickly is understanding that you're trying to be a better friend or a better partner for this person. And in doing that, you're gonna make yourself a better person. And I think that whenever we talk about being there for somebody or even in community organizing, the thing that I've always learned is that when we become better community members, we're inversely becoming better people. We're becoming better versions of ourselves. We're learning how to be there for other people, show up and be present for other people. Because even if you're not doing it for yourself, it shows you what it looks like to do that for yourself or to be that person for you. And I think that's extremely important in your journey just to becoming a better version of yourself, a better family member, or a better human in being aware of their own emotions. It's not about controlling the emotions. It's not about filtering the emotions. It's not about manipulating the emotions. It's about being in a better place of understanding them and really understanding other people as well as you walk into a room and you're spatially aware of what's going on or just emotionally aware of what's happening. One of the first things is to understand, we'll give you the by the book definition or what they have here written down. Dating a highly sensitive person means being particularly mindful of their deep emotional processing, strong reactions to stimuli, and need for thoughtful communication. It requires a patient partner who can appreciate their heightened sensitivity while providing a safe and supportive environment to express their feelings openly. I'll get into that last part. There's I don't necessarily agree with that last part fully, and the part about communication. And for the first thing is allowing this person to have space. So a lot of folks that I know that are big emotional processors, HSPs, is there will be no text whatsoever. These are just friendships. We're not getting into relationships just yet. There will be no texts for about a day or two. And then I will just see 10, 8, funny memes piled up in the DMs. And it's just like boom, 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 boom. And then they leave, for a while. And that is just, people process so, not at a level or a consistency that others do. Somebody may send one meme a day or one meme every 3 days. But for HSPs, there will be this situation where it's like, I'm fully attentive. I need to be away from everybody. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me. Don't mention me. And it might be a little bit much to declare or ask, like, don't talk to me, don't look at me, or whatever. I'm getting a hyperbole here, but the idea is that there is these high highs, these low lows, the dam is broken and I'm socially wide open to I'm now a hermit. And it goes like that often. And to understand that and to understand that it will not operate like the way that you process is huge, because it's not you. And to expect everybody to process like we process is, in a sense, it can be selfish, because it's like, well, I do it like this. Why can't you do it like this? And it's like, that's not how it goes. Not everybody is you. And when you go out into the world and work with different people, this is why we talked about this in group intervention, is you're gonna come across people that are different than you. How are you gonna work with that? Are you gonna immediately condemn those people or just ostracize those people and, just ignore them? Or do you actually work with those folks? Like, how does that look to you? What does that entire setup and scenario look like for you? And here it's written, HSPs often need to be alone, time to recharge after social interactions, so respect their boundaries and don't take it personally if they need to step back. It is not personal. 100% not personal. It can be taken personal if you start telling them that they need to get back out there in the field. Because the thing is, I think somebody asked me once if I'm an introvert, and my reply was, only when I want to be. And so the point was, it's like, no, I'm not an introvert. However, when I shut down, bro, I got to get out of there. I mean, I will Irish goodbye an entire family dinner. I'll just be, oh, there it goes again. And when that happens, I've learned to respect it. And the thing is that for a lot of HSPs, there's shame and guilt with that sometimes. Some HSPs just do not give an F, and they're just like, I'm out of here, and I don't care what anybody thinks about that. Bless them. And but for me, there was a lot of guilt and shame and over-explaining myself, people-pleasing along with it. So when you provide space for somebody to take that exit or take that time away for themselves, that's huge. And that's really, really, it's not only kind, it's not only generous, but it's just compassionate. It's just allowing that space to be there for somebody that they require that space for them to be out, like for them to be out with other people. They're gonna need to take like a certain amount of time to just be like, I gotta step away from this. So giving somebody space is huge. Now, again, we don't wanna get into stonewalling. We don't wanna get into, I just disappeared. I pulled a I'm trying to think of a famous magician, and I cannot at the time. I'm thinking of the Prestige. But it's not like an excuse to just say, oh, I'm disappeared now, I'm gone. You don't get to see me, nobody does. It's taking space, and in a relationship, there's gonna have to be, we come back to the beginning of this, communication with that. And it depends on the HSP or the person that's currently being vulnerable or experiencing high sensitivity at the moment. Do they have the capacity and ability to communicate that to you at the moment? Do you have the capacity in yourself to say, hey, I know that you need some space right now. I'm just gonna like let you rock with that, and then I'll be, I'll be here, phone call away. Don't worry about that. And keeping an open lines of communication, or keeping the lines for communication open for that person. The second thing is what we were just talking about, open communication. And so communication is tricky, because you would think that it's just like two-way street, but communication is having the boldness and self-awareness to communicate what you need and want in that moment. This is difficult because to communicate what you want, you have to offer a little bit of vulnerability. You have to offer up, you have to take the shield down, dog. You got to let go of the defensiveness. To have healthy communication, none of the four horsemen can be in that room, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I'm sure you might have a different experience. There can't be contempt, there can't be critique, there can't be defensiveness, there cannot be stonewalling. If you're stonewalling, there's no communication. But the thing is that you gotta be in a space where you can say it. There might be some like, oof, man, I can't believe you need this space right now because I really want to talk to you and figure this out. And then it's gotta just be. You gotta let it be. And having open communication and saying, hey, I need space right now, or hey, I need this from you, or hey, I'm not showing up as best as I could. I need to back up. I need to take a walk around the block and assess what I'm doing. That's huge. That is huge. That is a big, big deal to communicate that as healthily as possible, and then move forward from there and build from there. And open communication, this is not just for this scenario with people that are HSPs. This is for anybody. Anybody and everybody needs open communication. Clear and honest communication is crucial, as HSPs might overthink situations and appreciate open explanations. This is so true, because the overthinking, it can exacerbate and metastasize without communication. And this happens to a lot of people anyways. People are thinking, they're making up stories in their head based off of the lack of communication. When you actually ask somebody, hey, how did you feel about that? Oh my God. I said something, I got into an argument with a friend. And I said something, contempt. I said something mean for the sake of being mean. And this was in 2016. It wasn't until 2020 that I asked this friend of mine, I said, I'm so sorry about that. What was your takeaway on that? And they were like, oh, well, I thought you were just being mean, but I didn't take it as like, a hear all end all. Like, it wasn't as heavy as I was taking it. And so 4 years I had held on to that. And I was like, oh man, I'm the worst person in the world. And I rightfully so, that was my time to deal with it. And I'm happy I had 4 years to kind of like dwell on that, but it wasn't as big as I thought it was, because I overthought it to death. And then when I finally had some communication with this person, It was whatever. It wasn't as big a deal as I thought it was. And I think that's profound for you to understand that and grasp it, because it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to take 4 years. You can talk about it right now. And understanding that somebody's going to overthink something to death, or overthink themselves into like their cortisol levels going through the roof, it's huge just to have some open communication. And the third thing to know, of the many things, is validating their feelings. Acknowledge and validate their emotions, even if you might not fully understand the intensity behind them. That is a big deal, because we don't know how high the knob is turned up for a lot of HSPs, or people that are just feeling vulnerable. And I go back to that statement. Somebody walks in a room and, they have a minor disagreement with somebody, and then they blow up, and somebody in the room says, wow, they really went from 0 to 60. Well, maybe they were at 58. Like, having intense emotions doesn't mean that it's just in the vacuum of you and this person. Dealing with the world as an HSP or as a human can just set somebody off and put them in a space where it's already at a place that the smallest thing can trip the wire, and then boom, here we are. And I think it's important to note for yourself and for HSPs that, for highly sensitive people, I feel weird just saying HSP, that people showing up to public situations or whatever that may be, as tough as it is, knowing that they may be at 58. And so somebody's trying to socialize in a time where they're not able to do it. So I think it's important to give people grace just based on the pure fact that they're trying. They're trying to socialize, even though they may not have the ability or the spoons to do it. And when you validate somebody's emotions, oh my goodness. I was with a particular family member, and I could tell that their spoons, their means to deal was pretty much gone. It was over. It was a wrap. And this other person at the table and we noticed it, and we started talking to this family member. We said, "Hey, why don't we get you out of here?" And I remember them turning, and they were like, I know that they felt alone in that moment. I know that they felt probably not seen in that moment, or any of those things. But you pick up on it, and it's like, they got to go. We got to get you out of here. And I wrap this up with just a short story. It was a friend of mine, pretty highly sensitive person, and they had gone to a club, and they were meeting some other friends, and no substance was involved for them, and went to this very busy club. A lot of people, loud music. So there's a lot of stimulus going on here, and they were at the bar trying to get like a soda water, and somebody bumped into them, just bumping over the bar and whatnot. One of the security staff came up to them and said, "Hey, are you okay?" And the person was like, "No, I'm not." And they said, "Hey, let's get you to the stairwell. Let's get you out of here. Let's get you out of here." They got him out of there as quickly as they could, and that was that. That was that. But it was the ability of this person to see that my friend in this space was suffering. They were trying to be there. They were trying to socialize. I feel like they were called up with some friends. They're like, "Hey, coming out." And even though no substance was involved, it was too much, man. It was way too much. The noise, the people being touched. Like, it's like, bro, don't touch me. Like, even that is like, it's too much. And you don't know anybody's history and what they have with that. And so they were just beside themselves. But it was so beautiful that this person noticed it and said, "Hey, let's get you out of here. Let's get you out of here." They weren't in a relationship. They were just two people in space and life. And it's important for you to have the ability to recognize what other HSPs are going through, what people that are feeling vulnerable are going through, people that are just highly sensitive at the moment are going through, to be able to help and support a human at that time. Because then, as we said in the beginning, it's going to make you a better friend. It's going to make you a better friend. The inverse of all of this is for people that are HSPs that are watching this, is that It's going to make you a better person as well in your relationship, knowing how you respond to stimuli, knowing who you are in these situations. I couldn't really ask for support until I knew that I needed it. Couldn't do it. Don't know what we don't know. And as an HSP, until I acknowledged, yeah, I think I need some help here. Like, this is not me just like blubbering, crying, like from any situation that like possibly, smacks of abandonment. There's something going on, dude. I got to figure this out. I don't like this at all. So I got to figure this out so I can show up better for myself and show up better for my friends and my family. Be a better son, be a better brother, be a better friend, be a better coworker, a better person on a film set, my goodness. And when you are an HSP and you understand and learn more about yourself, you're then able to support the relationship more, and vice versa. Vice versa. Because, again, this comes down to self-awareness. This is what this kind of whole series is about. When you understand that there's the need for space, the need for open communication, and the need for the validation of feelings, even if you may feel that you're right, it's the idea of, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Is this a zero-sum game or is this a relationship? Are we building or are we in a zero-sum game? Does validating somebody's emotions mean that you took an L? Like, that's a real big question that you should answer while you're in this relationship. And that's just a precursor to anything, to being with somebody who's an HSP. And also, I think a big question is the HSP that you're with know that they're an HSP, or that they receive the world differently than other people do? And I think that's probably a great question for you and your partner or family member or friend to engage with before you start taking these steps. Oh my goodness, there's so much here. I could just keep going on, but the battery is low on this camera and the sun is going down. So here we are. I think there was one last thing that I wanted to leave you with regarding the inversion or going into a relationship with somebody that deeply processes, and that is, I mean, at least for me, this is where I'm coming from, is that the overthinking, the overthinking, I think there is a such thing as overthinking. Don't want to be too meritocratic about it. The heavy processing, the feeling something deeply, all of that is something that gives a lot to the relationship. And I think that, we go through these things like, this is a burden, or this is extra weight on your shoulders. I think it's just different. It's just different. It's not, there's a lot more, there's a lot less. It's just different. And I know that that's the way I had to start viewing it to really get to a neutral place with highly sensitive, vulnerable, emotional, experiencing traumatic responses or whatever. But that's how I had to look at it. So I know we say a lot of things that may add weight to it, but I think really when you say it's just different than other things. And I personally believe being an HSP in a relationship adds a lot of vibrancy and color. It's not all dramatic, but it can add a lot of beautiful things to it. So that is that on dating an HSP, and a video I never thought I'd make, but here we are. There's one more video to go, and I think you'll dig it. It's not like the other ones, but it is definitely something I think that wraps up this 6-video series very nicely about relationships and being highly sensitive and taking a risk and being vulnerable and feeling vulnerable. So there's that. All right, I hope you got some value out of this. We're gonna see you in the next one. Bye-bye.